We are now. Hey, live people, you're all live. That's what it says on our screen. It says live. This is Miracles and Wonder Down Under in Wagon Street Studio for the last time. Yes, you can see it's very empty and there's a mattress behind us. How very strange. You didn't think about the
lovely purple bag with art materials.
Everything's packed up, ready to move away.
Most of it's gone.
What a fabulous day to do permission to feel in transition. Oh.
No transitions.
Well, there is transition between one house and the other. That's a transition.
No, you're moving. You're moving, or you're settled, or you're settled. I don't know, I think I wrote about that last week. Either you're always in transition every second of every day, or transition is one of those things that we create, because you're always where you are. You know, because that sense of transition being, unless it's every second of every day, then transition is that sense of becoming and never being. That sense of, oh, I'll be there when I get there. I'm never here where I am. But it is true that it is always changing. So we can always be in transition.
So we're back in that paradox of life again.
What's the paradox?
Oh, well, that you're never wrong, but you can always change your ideas. That you're never wrong, but there's always another way of looking at things.
Well, I think it just depends on, do you want to be in the art of becoming, or do you actually want to be? Like, if you have a choice. So it's not about being right or wrong, but in the art of becoming, in the concept of transition, in the concept of I'll be there when I get there, or once I learn this, it'll be different, or once I change this, it'll be better. That's forever being outside of the, you know, the sense of who you are now, the perfection of this moment, the miracle of this moment, being tuned to this moment. So your life is forever being led somewhere in some fantasy future or some fantasy past instead of right here. And it's not that you're wrong, but that's your existence and you have a choice. I think that's, you know, so the essence of that experience is in the choice that you make about those ideas. It's not that those ideas are right or wrong, but they become your experience. So what kind of an experience do you want to have? You know, rather than seeing it as passing the test or, you know, living I'm just thinking about all those prosperity things, living a more certain existence. Because I just think about that concept of being able to draw things towards you, focusing forever on what you're drawing towards you instead of where you are right now. Even when we were talking in the car about synchronicity, something came up for me. Because we really are always in synchronicity, but we're forever looking for particular signs. We're forever looking for it to be a particular way. But synchronicity is our natural state. If we could see what was happening right now. You know, like even those feelings, that sense of whatever's coming up for you right now, that is, if you like, evidence of synchronicity, because whatever's coming up for you is your conversation. It is pointing you to your effortless self. It is pointing you to the miracle of this moment, how to be present, how to be effortless. So those synchronicities aren't things that we, you know, we have when we're doing it properly, or when we're calm and untortured. You know, it's more about how can you see that they're happening all the time? How can you see that they're happening right now? You know, so rather than being in transition, even if you are in the middle of moving a house or changing to a new job or just about to have a baby or whatever it is that feels like it'll be different in 2 days or 2 weeks, how can you see the synchronicity right now? You know, that art of becoming. I just think about those people that work their whole lives to retire and then get wiped out in a car accident and never actually get to have that experience that they're waiting for, forever waiting, forever working towards. You know, your life is not in the things that you're setting up for later. Your life is in this moment. How can you have this moment as your existence? You know, but not as one of those throwaway Thelma and Louise, I'm just going to go off the edge of a cliff because it doesn't matter what happens to me tomorrow. How can you be in that holistic way where you are, I mean, I wouldn't say managing your conditions, but I would say paying attention, you know, so you still have the things that you think you need. But you just make peace with the things that you don't. You know, but it's not that you don't pay your rent because you're not thinking about tomorrow. You're being present in that holistic way. But if that money is not there, you're not thinking about the potentials of the money not being there. You're thinking about it in a way as the money's not there, as a conversation with the cosmos. What do I need to pay attention to? How am I paying attention right now? How can I be with this situation no matter what? How can I have that inner peace no matter what it looks like is going on? Because I don't have access to all the information. I have access to how can I be with this right now.
As I saw, I feel like people go inner peace from inner peace. How can you have inner peace when you are in turmoil? Like, that's not the experience I have of life. My experience of life is upset and distress and I'm crying again, or I'm, you know, like, how do you, you know, you're saying have inner peace with tumultuous emotions. That's all I have is tumultuous emotions.
Yeah.
Don't give me inner peace now. That's all right with some people. They can pay their rent. I can't pay my rent today. I don't have a house to go to. You might be able to transition into a house and call it not transition, but I can't even transition. I don't have a house to go to. I don't know. You know, like, I feel like whenever people talk to us about inner peace, for most of us, it feels like we're way outside of that. We're on another planet.
But I've had all of those things. I was homeless for almost a decade. Like, it didn't make any difference to how I felt. It didn't make any difference to how I saw the world. It's not about the things that are happening outside. It's not about what it looks like. None of those things matter unless you make them matter. You know, because the minute you sort one thing out, your brain, if that's what you're doing, the minute you sort that one thing out, then the next thing will come into your consciousness and you'll be working to figure that out. And then as soon as that's figured out, you'll be working to work out the next thing. And if it's not about working out the next thing, it's about how can I make, you know, get the next lounge or improve my technology or increase my income. You'll always be chasing the thing that you don't have. Your focus will always be on the thing that needs to be fixed, healed, or changed. You will never be where you are.
And I'd say for most people, that is their emotions. That is, I'm feeling shit. I want that to change.
Yeah, but
I need to find the thing that will change that feeling in me to something that feels better, to the inner peace. I want the inner peace. How am I going to get the inner peace?
But the feeling is not the condition. They're the two separate things. The condition doesn't impose the feeling. The feeling is the feeling, and the condition is the condition. You know, like you walk into a field and you have 3 people walk into a field. One's a botanist, one's a surveyor, and one's a builder. They're going to see 3 different things. They're in the same field, but they're going to have 3 different experiences. So it's not about the conditions on the outside, but if you're talking about how do you be with the feelings that are flowing through you, it's by knowing that they don't necessarily have a reason. Don't attach them to the conditions in your existence, because there's a sense that, you know, by trying to explain them, by trying to say, because I feel angry because. You don't feel angry because, you feel angry. If you can be with, I feel angry, not make it about other people, not make it about the circumstances in your existence, then it will flow and you will understand it as a conversation as an insightful conversation. And that anger will be allowed to flow through you, and whatever happens. Like there's a sense that by attaching it to something and fighting it and trying to make it bad or trying to make it go away, that's where all that distress comes in. But there's a sense that if it's flowing and you don't try and explain it, you just allow it to have its wisdom, you know, and you listen to what needs to happen in order to be with. You know, like there's, you know, there's always a sense of how to be with. So if anger is flowing, because it's never stuck and it doesn't attack you, it just flows just like everything else. Everything is always flowing. So if anger is flowing, there is a sense of, okay, what is the wisdom of being with? It might be go outside. It might be sing particular songs. It might be stomp up and down the hallway. It might be...
And that's all very well if anger is flowing, but anger is eating me away. I think for most people, they would have a sense that their feelings are not something that they have a choice over. Their feelings are something that is...
I didn't say you have a choice.
No, but I'm just saying, it feels like for most people, when they try and address their feelings, when they try and engage their feelings, when they try and act on their feelings or get a different take on them, they feel like they're imposed upon them. They feel like there is no space between walking into the field and being the whatever and having your experience of it and the feeling that comes up. They feel like the feeling is imposed, is the only word that comes into my head. But
like cause and effect.
Yeah, like I've walked into the field, there's lava, it's hot, I'm going to be angry. I don't know, you know, like whatever the thing is, the stimulus is. You know, I'm in my community and someone's acting like this, that makes me mad. They are the cause of my anger. Their action has triggered that upset.
Yeah, no, see, and I think that's where...
But I'm just saying
that's where the cosmology comes in. I think that's where, when you do the course, there's a sense of that whole cosmology. You begin to understand how all of that was put in place and how it's serving you, and how having access to this new cosmology gives you a different sense of what that might mean and how to be in it. You know, I think that's...
And I just get a sense of people going, well, that's all very well if I live in your enlightened mind, but I've got a bloody husband to deal with today. He's giving me the shits. Like, you know, like I've got to deal with it. I want to know now what to do with my wave of emotion that's crashed down on my head.
But I think
I want the answer. Just give me an answer so I can fix it.
But I think that cosmology takes you into a sense where you're able to be in those situations and know it's not about other people. So even that sense of, you know, my child is, my husband is, my council is, my government is, all of that becomes a sacred conversation, and you begin to understand that whatever the feelings are that come in, even though it looks like cause and effect, it's correlation. And the correlation is the conversation that you're having, and it's an insightful conversation. So those things are coming up for a reason, and they don't necessarily make sense as they're coming in, which is where the allowing is part of that cosmology. And then once the allowing occurs, that's when the insightful conversation becomes apparent, because without that allowing, you're still trying to make sense, you're still trying to fight, you're still trying to blame other people and have control. But when the allowing occurs, there's a sense that there's this space created, and it feels like an expansion. I mean, I would be reluctant to say that that's what it does, but it feels like an expansion in that allowing, because it also feels like a contraction in the reasoning. You know, that sense of being asked to explain, you know, what's that face or why are you acting that way? That feels like a contraction because it doesn't allow you to be in it. It's people asking you to be cognitive about it. Someone moving furniture downstairs. Whereas the allowing, the flowing of any of those feelings feels like, it feels like your conversation, I'm not sure how else to explain it, it feels like you are having a conversation with the cosmos, no matter what it is, whether it's ecstasy or anger or frustration or uncertainty. It feels like when you drop into it and you know that it's happening for a reason, but you're not necessarily clued into what that reason is, but you know that you can trust it, there is a feeling that your interconnection becomes apparent. You know, the fact that you are interconnected all the time, it's impossible for you to be separated, full stop. And that's part of that cosmology as well, where you always know that no matter what it looks like, you are always interconnected. There's no other way of being, unless you choose to have an experience where you feel separated. But it comes with that, you can't have the experience as a trick. It's not a meditation. It's not a mantra. It's not an affirmation. It's not something that you can drink in a potion. It's something that you have to be immersed in. It's something that has to become your entire explanation. And you have to choose it. It's not like someone is going to say this is medicine, because the concept of pathology is outside of this experience. So it really has to be a choice.
I just feel like people get confused and go, so you're asking me to choose to allow nuclear war, child exploitation, cancer in my body. You're asking me to allow all the things that I don't like to be allowed.
I'm talking about feelings. I'm not talking about things that look like they're happening outside of you. I'm talking about your experience. I'm talking about the explanations that you come up with. I'm talking about how you engage.
I think that is most people's experience in trying to make sense of the world, is walking through a world and going, oh, look, there's nuclear war over there. What am I going to do about that? How can I change that situation? Oh, look, there's child exploitation over there. What am I going to do about that situation? That makes me feel something. That makes me feel something. You know, like those things that make us feel something are the things we go, how do I have more of that? How do I take that out of the picture?
And so when you're practicing in separation, there is a sense that that is bad and that's over there and that's not divine, and this is good and this is over here and this is divine, and I can keep those two things separate, and I can have a battle between these things over here, which I have deemed good because I'm so wise and I have all the information, and I have deemed all these things bad, and I'm going to pit them against each other until one of them wins. And somewhere in there, you have an experience of yourself as either belonging and meaningful and safe, or useless and disconnected and unsafe. You know, like you have this, because the thing is, what happens when you tune into the interconnection of the universe as the I am? What does it tell you that your job is? With all of those things playing out on the planet, what does that source of information tell you? Does it tell you to be in distress? Does it tell you to go over these things in your brain again and again and again so that you can't focus on what you're doing right now, so you can't look after the people around you, so that you can't feel the interconnection of your divine identity? What does that source of information tell you to do? Because I don't think I can tell you what that is, but I think that's a great place to start. I think if you have a sense of, if you're looking at something in the world and you say, this is bad and I need to fight it, when you tune into that interconnection of that divine voice, what does it tell you? Does it tell you to kill people and make people wrong and, you know, enslave people to your way of thinking? Is that what it tells you? Does it tell you to create oppositions? Does it tell you to look after some people but not others? Because I think there's a sense that when I tune into that voice, it tells me that whatever is occurring because of people's choices. And the most divine way that I can engage that is to tune into those people that are making choices, knowing that everyone is motivated by the desire to feel loved. And that if I can tap into that channel, then connecting to each person, every time I have a conversation with a human being, that's what I tap into. So if I'm tapping into the person that's making decisions about nuclear energy or about economics or about whatever it is, I'm tapping into their desire to feel loved and I'm engaging them on that divine channel. There's some way for me to see them as spirit sees them, to understand that they are doing the best they can with what they have, and that if on this human level I'm going to make a connection with them, I need to make it from that point. I need to make them part of my conversation with the cosmos, because it's only through spirit that I can have an experience of inner peace. There is a sense that I don't have access to all the information, but when I drop into the gentleness of the way spirit sees people, even those people that you've deemed evil or making evil decisions, spirit still, you know, the angels still stand with them. Spirit still stands with them. And there's a way of tuning in to that voice that allows you to be with them as well.
And I feel like there's people out there just going to give up because they are just overwhelmed with feeling like they're in, and it feels like they're in response to what you say. When you're going, oh, it's fine, just be calm, just tune in, just be with what God sees.
I didn't say fine.
No, I'm just saying that's what people hear.
Yeah.
Because most people are going, fucking hell, I've been saying I am oneness, it's a benevolent universe, I am oneness, it's a benevolent universe, I've been calling it in, I've been waiting for it to come, and all I get is you're a piece of shit and you can't fucking affect the things you want to affect, and it makes you wild. Like, I don't know, like I feel like people's immediate response is a huge sense of betrayal or upset, or
which is only possible in duality. You can't have an effect in oneness. You are oneness. You can't have an effect. Requires that there be two parts and one part affects the other part. That's not oneness, that's two-ness.
It still feels like people are roaring out there and going, that's all very well for you to try and impose your cosmology on me, but the reality of the cosmology that I live in is that this world is fucked. People are getting hurt. I've been hurt. Life is hard. I don't get what I want. No. It just feels like the emotion that comes through when you say, when you say just be with the feeling, it's like, be with the feeling. All right, you give me permission to be with the feeling. And the kettle lid comes off and the steam starts coming out and their ears are exploding. To listen to that, to take it in, it also feels like they're taking it in. It makes me think of the 10 Commitments book. Like they're taking it in at the level of, and I go of their experience outside of themselves, their experience where they are seeing their reality as their engagement with the outcomes or their engagement with the outside things. You know, like the reality is about, I don't know, I'm just thinking about my weekend, you know, it's like, am I in a community that is functioning and working, or am I not in a community that's functioning? Have I got relationships that, blah, blah, blah. You know, they're, people's sense of their reality is not about their internal world, it's about the external world and how the external world acts on them. Like when Mel says what she says, can I feel a resonance with it, or does it spring up in me upset because I don't have that level of inner peace, I don't have that calm, I have a raging emotional world inside me that I've tried to do something with, and no matter where I come at it, it's biting me on the ass and I'm not getting the outcomes I want.
But inner peace is not about calm. I never mentioned the word calm. You know, like there's no sense of it being about quelling the storm. It's about knowing that the storm is happening for a reason. You know, but
so we can all go to hell in a handbasket.
It still comes back to choice. I mean, you can, it's not like anyone is saying you have to have this. It's not like anyone is saying this is essential or you won't get the prize or be good or whatever it is that you think is going to happen. Like this, none of this is going to be about achievement. None of this is going to be about hierarchy. None of this is going to be about being part of the cool game or whatever it is, you know, the high rollers. You know, like none of this is ever going to be about that stuff. This is going to be about your personal choice.
And that feels like then people go, yeah, well, that's great, isn't it? I've made the wrong fucking choice again and I've got the wrong fucking outcomes and I feel like shit. So for a lot of people, they're back into that new age thing of going, you know, I did the wrong thing, so I got the wrong outcome, so bad luck for me. I don't know. That's the feeling I get about it, is that people, there's something about our spiritual hierarchy or our all this, you know, it's like you're not being a good person, so you won't get the glory of God. You're not doing the right choice, so you don't get the calm outcome. You don't.
Yeah, but if you want to have a different understanding of that, then you can come play in this, because that's what this is about. This is about having a different understanding of where you have been, where you are, and where you think you're going. And I mean, that's what it is. It's giving you another option. It's giving you an option that's not going to make anything you've done in the past bad or wrong, because you can never be off course. And it's giving you a concrete way of understanding it, a concrete way of restoring what it is that makes the decisions that you've made in the past the most sacred decisions that you could have made, and that they're based on the beliefs that have been serving you your entire life. None of them have ever been leading you astray. There's no way for you to come back onto some aspect of who you are and say, oh, it was that bit, that evil bit kept taking me off course. Like all of the things that we will take you through will make sure that all of your aspects have been doing their job, and you can understand them and have a new relationship with them if you choose, if there is a sense that you would like to have a different perspective. I mean, it's like you have a house and there are 10 rooms. If your aspects are in particular rooms and they don't feel effortless, you can ask them where they would like to be in the house. But it's not that they've been in the wrong rooms. It's just that they had that experience for a reason. And you can understand what that reason is when we take you through the 8 weeks. But it's not that you need to correct it. It's just that you have a choice. You know, you can walk into that field and go, I'm going to focus on all the weeds, and I'm going to focus on the building that's not there, and I'm going to focus on all the money it's going to cost me, and I'm going to focus on all the people that it's going to take me away from. Or you can walk into the field and go, this is amazing. I can feel spirit here. I can see the essence of the elementals, and I can focus on the voice of the planet, and I can sit here and be with myself. I mean, it doesn't matter what situation you walk into, wherever you focus, you're focusing for a reason. And the course will take you through how that works so that you can go, oh, I get it. I get why I walk into that situation and focus on this. I understand how I can be with the feelings that come up and not connect them in a cause and effect way, and understand anything that occurs as a correlation, so that it takes everything. You create space for yourself. You know, there's a sense that it's never about other people, and it's never about the stuff that you have or don't have. It's always about your conversation. There's something, that's where that inner peace comes in, is that it re-explains, it kind of redesigns your experience. So there's no blame, shame, or control. You know, taking those things and understanding where they have served you is one aspect of it. And then being able to be in that situation and not needing that to be true anymore allows you to be with in a different way. And there's no prize. It's not like it's a form of enlightenment that was unreachable before. I mean, you are divine. There's no way to separate yourself from that. You are having an experience of your choosing somewhere, but it's a choice of the entire divine. It's not just a choice. There's no sense that your individual person is separate. So the experience is a shared experience, even though you think, you know, there are things outside of you attacking you or helping you along the way or indifferent to you. There's no way to separate that expansion and contraction, that movement of experience is always interconnected, no matter what point of the expansion and contraction that you're at. Well, I'm just thinking also about, I mean, I don't think we'll get into this in the course, but there's also the sense of soul. You know, I was talking to a channel the other day, and we were having a conversation about a portal that's open and people that are leaving the planet at the moment. And I said, it's not, you know, I got information instantly. I said, they're not leaving the planet. I said, they're leaving the bodies that they're in and going to the other bodies that they're connected to, because your soul is connected to more than one body. So some of us are, you know, deciding to be on the planet in a new way that way. And some of us are deciding to be on the planet in a new way by changing our sense of how we explain things. So there's no difference between, you know, that sense of how we choose to experience things, whether we leave one body or, you know, change our ideas about something. It's the same thing. It's the same way of welcoming a new experience. And the only person it's going to make a difference to is you. And if all of the yous had an experience, then we would all have an experience of that. But it's not necessary. It's not like it has to be contagious. You don't have to fix anybody else. I mean, you can be with the situation. If you're there and something is occurring in front of you, you're there for a reason. It's not that you cut yourself off by saying, oh, that's it, you know, it's just because it's in my field of vision, blah, blah, blah. You have an intuitive sense of the things that you are meant to be part of. And if something is occurring, then it's happening for a reason. And it's about being with. Inner peace is about being with in whatever way comes up. It's not about being in control. I think that's the, you know, there was some, I don't know, was it a text, a Facebook post that you got? Oh, you showed me, you wanted me to read about some woman that was raging about some, I don't know, or some group, some spiritual
It's just
group.
a Facebook post about oneness movement and saying, if you're going to tell me one more time to clean up my upsets so that I can be in oneness and be all calm and peaceful and loving,
Yeah.
you can all get fucked. Because
Yeah.
I'm fucking angry and I'm feeling all these emotions that are tumultuous and I want to own them. It's about being alive and it's about feeling, and I want to feel my feelings, and don't tell me to be something different to what I am.
That's it.
Tell me to have a different experience than my experience.
Yeah, and there's no sense that your feelings are bad or wrong or need to be controlled, but you can have a sense of them as sacred if you want.
But at this point, you are, I was going to say, I don't know what to say, banging your head against the wall is a good example. Or, you know, you feel like you're ready to kill someone. It's not to express them necessarily either.
But if it's not about other people, and that's what I say, like when we do the course, that's what we take you into. Like you understand the feelings as a sacred experience. So if the anger is present without the story that it being about a cause and effect situation, what would it be about? And that allows the emotion or the feeling to be present without the need to rage against other people or the conditions of your existence. There is a sense of being, and that's where it becomes expansive, when you can allow the emotion to be sacred. It expands. I'm not sure how else to explain it, but that's what it feels like for me. I mean, maybe it will feel different for you, but when it's not attached to what you think other people should or should not be doing, or when it's not attached to where you think you should be or not be, or, you know, some other story about what you think is happening around you, there's a sense of that emotion. It's like a divining rod. It's incredibly powerful. I mean, I'm not saying you don't feel the rage. You feel the rage, but you understand it in an elemental way. There's a sense of it truly moving through you, and it carries information. But it's not to make sense of it while it's happening. Like, it carries information as it's flowing. You know, and there is always something flowing. It's not like when that emotion, you know, dissipates, nothing is flowing. There is always something flowing through you. And that's what I mean about that synchronicity. Like, there is a sense that whatever feelings are moving through you, there is a, you know, that they are all divining rods. They are all information carriers. There is no point in your day that information is not passing through you, that you are not having that insightful conversation. You know, and I guess the you know, the cosmology that comes with the course is the sense that they don't define you, and that's where the, you know, the depression and the anger can often be something that we want to fix or tone down, because the I statements come out with those feelings. But if we can, with the cosmology, we understand that whatever is passing through is passing through. You know, there's a sense that you don't begin to define yourself by those experiences.
And for people who haven't been with us for the last 3 weeks or over time, whatever, I guess there is that sense of, within the course, even the 3 weeks previous to these were permission to play, permission to rule, and permission to dance. And there's no, you know, you don't have to do the course in order. You don't have to get these concepts in a particular way. There, and you don't have to get anything. Like, you're having your experience and it will be perfect for you. Though I think it is good to reiterate now that, you know, even us sitting here today talking about feelings in such a heady kind of way, you know, you may be feeling like, oh, it's all going around, like, how do I make sense of this philosophy? How do I take this cosmology on board? How do I, be a better person and manage my feelings in a better way, and you know, like it gets caught in the loop of your mindsets, or whatever you want to call them, your biases and all the rest of it. There is that sense of permission to play, permission to dance. Let yourself, you know, if you are caught in the anger, paint it, dance it. You know, like if you feel like the anger, you can't read it, you can't get the message from it, you can't get a different take on it to the loop that you always find yourself in, and you are banging your head against the wall, express it to yourself somehow differently so that you can get a different take on it, so that you can, yeah, have a new experience of it for yourself. Because we're not there to ask you the questions, so you can see it in a different way. And quite often we are in the loop of our own knowing. I don't know, but there's something in that loop for you as well. Like, in as much as I say, change it if you want, if it feels like you're in overwhelm and you can't get a grip on what's there for you to gain access to, do something different with it.
Yeah, I don't. It's not about
dance.
Seeing it as a. Yeah, see that concept of it being a delivery system is not being with. It's waiting for the information. It's another becoming game. You know, it's just that is a truth that allows you to be with, is to know that it is a deliverer of information. It's not to decode it. It's not to try and figure it out, because you can't be with and try and figure it out at the same time. The focus is to be with, you know, and if that feels, if there's agitation when you're being with, then there's agitation. Be with the agitation. You know, it's not to go, oh, I need to be with it, you know, a particular way. And that's what I was saying. If there's anger, it will tell you what it wants. It will tell you to walk up and down the hallway. It will tell you to go and be in the ocean. It will tell you to paint. It will tell you to sing. It will tell you to do what you need to do to be with.
But if it's telling you to smash your head against the wall in frustration, or it's telling you to shoot your partner, I don't know. Like, it feels like people feel like that's what their upset is telling them, to push the nuclear button. I don't know. Like, when people are in that distress around not being worthy or not being...
But then it's about other people.
The universe isn't benevolent.
Then it's about other things. It's not being with. Being with is not about attacking other people. You will never attack another person if you're being with. There's no... Being with is always knowing that you're being with.
There's just that sense of people feel like it's not a benevolent universe, and they've tried everything to change situations that are driving them mad.
Yeah, because
nothing has changed that situation.
That's because they're in the becoming. They're in the duality. They're in the, which, you know, is serving you somehow.
Can you talk a bit more about that? How being in the duality can serve you. What does that mean for people? Like, how can people get a take on that?
Well, it's not in it. When they're in it. There's a sense that it's not a bumper sticker philosophy. I can't tell you in 3 sentences. You need to do work with us in order to understand how it all fits together. I mean, even the sense that we've got weeks in a particular order, you know, that was incredibly difficult to do, because none of it is separate. None of it is... it's discrete, isolated island of information. All of the information is part of a cosmology, which means that it's about everything that occurs. It's the explanation for everything that you experience. It's the explanation for all of your experiences and why you do them and where they came from, and how they're maintained, and how you plan for the future, and how you understand your relationships, past, present, and future. And there's a sense that it's so interconnected. It's not something that you can tease out and say this thread is here, and if you understand this thread, then all of these things will be different. Like, the whole cosmology needs to cascade into your experience in order for any of it to be true. There's no it's not a salve. It's not like you go to meditate for an hour and then you feel better for a while until something comes in to disrupt that, because there is no disruption. You will understand whatever comes in, because you will still meditate. You will still do what you do. So the ideas of being separate, the idea of duality, the idea of cause and effect, have come in with the beliefs that keep you safe, make your life meaningful, and help you have a sense of belonging. They work with you to make those things your priorities. So if you took on a belief that feeling safe is about, having people stronger than you to keep badness away, then you will do that. You will feel safe when there are people bigger than you are in your life, and you will feel unsafe when they're not there. Even if those people that are bigger than you abuse you in some way, if that primary belief was being safe is about having people stronger than me defend me, like the other experience of that will be that I need that, and I will perpetuate that in my existence, and I will feel unsafe when they are not there, even if they are the perpetrators of the violence against me. So there is a sense that those beliefs, the safety, belonging, and meaningfulness, are always working for us, even though they're putting us into situations that threaten our physical safety. So it's being able to understand where those things come from and being able to say, you know what, I get that you've been looking after me my whole life. I put this idea into existence and you have been defending my ideas like a spiritual warrior. And now I am going to have a new experience of this. I'm going to give you different beliefs so that I don't have to have these same experiences. I can choose to be safe in a different way. But until you understand it's about that, and it's not about some karmic punishment, or it's not about some, childhood trauma, it is about the beliefs that we have taken on that our aspects are defending. So this concept of duality is giving you explanations of things in particular ways that also keep you safe and give you meaning and a sense of belonging. So nowhere along the way have you had a belief, whether it's about duality or about safety, that is wrong or needs to be removed. Somewhere along the way they have been serving you.
I belong with the good guys.
They have been backing you up. Yeah.
I belong with the good guys. I'm a good guy.
So if there is good and bad in
that makes sense. I belong with the good guys.
In your cosmology, if there's good and bad in your cosmology, then your aspects, your belief system will back you up in that. Your perceptual biases will back you up like spiritual soldiers. That is their job. They don't have a choice. They are aspects of you. You are the person that has a choice. So all of that has been serving you, even though your experience of that has been traumatic. But how can you understand it in a way that you know you have just been backed up your entire life? You are still interconnected despite all of those experiences. So it's never about making that stuff wrong or less than. And it's not, because then when you look at the people around you, you're not going to try and convince them or convert them because you know that it's serving them perfectly. And if they happen to have a conversation with you and ask you a question, you can give them an answer. But it's never about herding other people towards what you think is better for them, because you are so busy being with. You don't have time or energy to go out converting other people. There is a sense that, spirit will tell you what conversations to have, even if spirit doesn't talk to you in your ear. And that's where some of these feelings come in. These feelings are spirit speaking with you about what needs to be in your attention. So, well, I call it the loudest point. So the feelings are your loudest point. And if sometimes pain and anger is about making noise, maybe spirit is saying you need to make noise. There's a sense inside your body that needs vibration. And so you physically experience pain and anger so that you can do that because it's not occurring in another way. And if you can tap into that, if you can allow that anger or allow that pain and then get that sense that it's about making noise, you won't get it during it. Like, it's very rarely that you get during. It's kind of in hindsight that you go, oh yeah, I get it, it's about making noise. So then you can begin to make noise and you can have that conversation with spirit in a new way. But I'm not sure if that answered the duality question. How does duality...
How you going out there, people? What are you feeling? What are you feeling about that?
But it is...
And I think that's the other thing too. There is no end game. You know, you're not going to get to the end of this video and go, oh, I feel better now. I feel inner peace. Fabulous. I'm going to sit with that all day and be happy. Fabulous. They've fixed it. They've turned the key in the lock of my heart and now I am an enlightened being and I can have cosmology that makes the whole world make perfect sense. La! Angels singing. Cue angels singing.
But I think it's also about like just knowing that anything that we do is going to be about what spirit sees in you. So even the thing that you think is incredibly terrible that you need to be punished for, we are going to be the angels' voices that say, we still love you. That doesn't make you unlovable. There's something about this work that is very much about what spirit sees, which is where that non-judgment comes in, which is why we will never make you wrong. There's this, that's the most important thing for me. You know, we can talk about all of the other stuff that's come out of our conversations about how to communicate these ideas, are just about how to put them in a longer conversation. But for me, it is really just about heart alchemy. It's about what does spirit see? What would the angels say in this situation? What does spirit know about you right now? That's the thing that's the most important focus. That's the thing that I will come back to.
And I think that's the thing about play and dance and everything else that's I don't know, endearing, is that thing that the angels are not going to just stand around being holier than thou and go, oh, please shift your visualization so that you can hear in the right place, see it from the right place. They might just take the piss and have a laugh with you and dance around on the sand. I don't know, like they're not, it's not how we see it.
It's not how we've separated the sacred from the human. The angels don't see it that way.
You are the angel. And the angel is what you are in so many ways. Like where you're looking at the angels or your picture of the angels and going, oh, if only it could be like that one. La! And just be this unmoved, unchanged beam of love beaming out. It's not necessarily how we planted it. We're humans for a reason. We get to be all these shades of grey, as they say. All these shades of grey, all these emotions and all these feelings are totally...
We have choice. None of those other vibrations or entities or however you want to label them have choice. And even though they're aspects of us, they're the aspects of us that don't have choice. We are the only ones that have choice. I think that's the main, you know, even in that, it's hard. I need to draw pictures in order to explain it.
And I guess even as you go out into the world today and think, permission to feel, what am I supposed to do again? Permission to feel. They say I've got permission to feel. I've got to feel. You know, it's just about choice in how you of course you're going to feel things.
Yeah. And that's where those priorities come in.
One thing is permission to feel it. Let yourself have that. Whatever you have is yours to have for a reason. Like, if you are feeling like banging your head against the wall, it's there. It's yours.
Yeah.
Feel it. Somewhere it can't hurt you, in the sense that it can't hurt you.
Yeah, unless you act on it. But even that, you know, that idea of priorities, that idea of rules that we make up for ourselves. If you're on the bus and you feel like bursting into tears, maybe you're meant to. You know, and maybe it's not about you. Maybe someone else needs to be sitting next to the person that burst into tears, and they're going to have some incredible, insightful conversation with the cosmos. It's not because you don't have access to the information, and this is what I'm saying. The things that you're being asked to do aren't necessarily about your discrete individual identity, because there's no such thing. We're interconnected. The things that we're being asked to do are about the fact that we are an interconnected divine being. So if you're being asked to feel, it's not about what messages you're going to get for you to make you wiser, richer, better, holier. It's about the point of existence that you have in this form, which kind of frees you out a bit. Yeah, but it is. I know it's not so serious.
I'm freed out, mate. Look, a little bit like this. It's a beautiful thing. People.
And if props help, use props. Thing. Like, I always have this vision when I get the shits and I get cranky, I stomp around like a 2-year-old having a tantrum. And my husband goes, we need to get you some Wellington boots, some pink Wellington boots, so I can stomp around on the house having a tantrum. And that, like, if props help, have props. Because if you can play into those emotions, I don't know, that's part of your experience as well. That's part of your effortlessness. And it's not to diminish them, because real anger and real suicidal thoughts cannot be made into play. But you can drop into them in a way that doesn't define you. But there are other points. Like, it is a spectrum. You know, there is a whole series of points in anger. There's not one experience of anger. So at some of those points, you can play. You can have boots or hats or no clothes or whatever it is that you need to do, sing opera. And other points you can't. And respect that.
Fabulous. See you around somewhere.
And just breathe.
Breathe. Oh, you can't help that, really. That's the beautiful thing about life.
Be conscious of your breathing. If ever you get into, I mean, even in pain, it is to breathe.
See you later, alligators.